right, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. It's Saturday, 20th of July, 2024, and we are glad you're here with us. Thank you again for spending your time with us. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. For those of you who are returning participants, if I can use that word, we are glad you chose to join us again this Saturday. It's 22nd of July, and did I say 22nd? I'm going ahead of myself. It's 20th of July. I guess there's something playing in my head on the 22nd about someone, you know. So our webinar today is titled The Weight and Impact of Words, Parents' Words on Their Child. And we have a good lineup for you. So first of all, let me introduce you to who we are, or introduce ourselves to you. We are PRI, Parenting Resources and Initiatives, and we are a faith-based, non-denominational organization committed to helping parents fulfill their God-given role of raising well-rounded children. Our vision is to enable thriving families with excellent parent-child communication in a conducive environment where a child's potentials are maximized. We encourage and support and also provide resources for parents to raise children who will be physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally sound. My name is Bola Odetokun. I'm the founder of PRI, and I'm your host for today. We have a great speaker, that is qualified by all means to handle this topic. Our speaker is Foluke Ajayi. I'm sure many of you have seen her picture on the flyer, and she's here with us live. She was born in London. She grew up in Nigeria, but went back to England in the early 90s. She emigrated to the United States with her family in 2007. In her more than 3 decades working with children, Foluke has held many teaching and leadership positions in both public and private schools. She's an educator with a passion for inclusion and equal opportunity. She's skilled in curriculum development, classroom management, assessment and evaluation, and storytelling. She's a trained Montessori teacher licensed in the state of Massachusetts and a certified lead teacher and administrator in early childhood education. She holds a Bachelor of Education from the Institute of Education, University of London, a Master's in Education from Goldsmith, a postgraduate certificate in education from Oxford. Okay, sorry, I think my control panel is hiding my screen. Let me hide my control panel. Yeah. Okay. So she has a Master's in Education from Goldsmith College, a postgraduate certificate in education from Oxford Brookes University, Oxford, England, and a Master of Education from University of Massachusetts, Boston. She's the owner and director of Dream Molders Education Limited, a professional development and consulting firm. One thing you will discover as we go on is that she's a multi-talented, I'll call her a serial entrepreneur, because I know that she runs, many businesses, she's a certified family-centered life coach who works with clients needing support in uncovering the issues, keeping them stuck in different areas of life. Her niche is working with women in immigrant communities. She designs programs to help parents better understand the many ways they can easily create miscommunications in their relationship with their daughters, and I say and sons as well, even though her own niche is for daughters, and how to navigate the possible pitfalls. Her philosophy is that it is important to be intentional in raising your children in a community of like-minded families, because it truly takes a village to raise the child. She's a member of the International Coaching Federation. Foluke is married and is blessed with 2 young adult children who make her life rich, fun, challenging, and humbling. She's a Christian who sees her greatest blessing as the unmerited favor of God. She serves as a prayer team leader, a spiritual guide, and a kids rock leader in her church community. She enjoys reading, creating, teaching, and learning resources. And she also makes clothes and bags and accessories from African fabrics. That's why I say she's a serial entrepreneur, So today she's going to be sharing, excuse me, excuse me, she's going to be sharing with us from, excuse me, from her wealth of experience. And as usual, we always like for our sessions to be very engaging. You are welcome to put your questions, your comments, something you like, something you disagree with in the chat room. We would, we would answer ourselves, on Foluke's behalf, or we will call Foluke's attention for you if she does not catch your question. But please know that we want you to engage with us. We want you to ask all the questions. And we don't just want you to ask questions. We also want you to share your own experiences with us. We understand that, we don't have all the knowledge. We don't have all the answers. So we are interested in learning from you as well. So please feel free to share with us in the chats, And right now, I'm going to turn it over to our speaker, Mrs. Foluke Ajayi. Please take it on.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Odetokun. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. And I'm just glad for what she said the last time. This is not all about somebody that is experienced or has got all the wisdom and knowledge sharing with all of us. This is a forum for us to learn from one another. And I'm just going to be upfront and say most of the things I'm going to share today, I actually learned from listening to Pastor preach about this. And it struck me, everything he said struck me so powerfully that I felt, yeah, this is important. So I am not an expert. I am just a parent and a coach who's learned something and wants to share it with all of us. So I'm learning, you are learning. Let's all learn together. Thank you for being here. So the weight and impact of parents' words on their child. Let's go to reading view and let's start. Trying to hide some things. Okay. Let's look at our roadmap. We're going to look at the definitions of some words. And then we're going to do a quick opinion poll. Do our words matter? And then we're going to look at our words and their weight. Because PRI is a Christian organization, we're going to be looking at the scripture. Ephesians 4:29 is going to be the first one we'll look at. Then we're going to think about the source, the impact, and the weight of our words. We're going to think about 1 Corinthians 13:1, Proverbs 12:18, and then we're going to talk about apologies and forgiveness. What's at their place in the words we speak? We're going to talk about James 3:2. So we're going to have time to reflect over everything we've heard. And I'm going to add a life skill coaching tool that I really hope and pray that we'll all, be able to use going forward. We're going to have questions and answers, and then I'm going to share some helpful resources. Definitions. Impact. When I checked the definition of this word, I was like, oof, that's heavy. Impact is a strong effect or influence, a forceful contact, the force of impression of one thing on another. So think about that. Your words give the force of impression of what you are saying on your child. That is heavy. And sometimes we tend to be careless in the things we say. Now let's look at weight. Weight is it holds something or someone down by placing a heavy object on top of it. Weight attaches importance or value to something, a relative heaviness or the amount or quantity of heaviness or mass. Look at that word, heaviness. So our words weigh on our children. Our words weigh on everybody we speak to. It creates a relative heaviness. It holds something or someone down. And the impact of our words is the force of impression of what we are saying on the hearer. I think that is very important. So please type in the chat what you think about this, true or false. Do your words matter? The words you use, let me just read it the way it is. The words I use when speaking to my child have a lasting impact on the child's behavior, self-esteem, and overall well-being. True or false? Or false? Please go ahead and chat. Put it in chat, please. I speak to my child like my parents spoke to me when I was growing up, and there is nothing wrong about that. I mean, there's some of us who are privileged and blessed to have parents who were aware of this long time ago. But there's some of us who had some words that, should we be saying the same thing to our children? When you think of the meaning of impact and weight, and you think of the title, the impact and weight of your words on your children. Children are resilient. We all say that. They will bounce back. They need a strong hand and strict words to behave. What do you think? True or false? Or does it matter? Does the tone or the words matter? Sarcasm is a form of training. It doesn't hurt. If you're like me and you grew up in Nigeria, oh, sarcasm, oof, we grew up with that. And you just see people, you hear people throwing it around. Does it hurt? Is it a good form of training? It is more important to speak the truth than it is to worry about feelings. I need to tell my child the truth. I shouldn't have to worry about how that child is feeling. I'm training the child. What do you think? True or false? Your words do not have equal weight. We're going to go back to our poll. I just want you to keep thinking about what you wrote and then just compare them with what you learn later, just to see, to balance the two, I should say. So the words we speak do not have equal weight. The words we speak do not have equal weight to the people that are hearing them. Your words are powerful. My words are powerful. How are you wielding yours? How are you using your words? Are you listening to the words you're saying to your children? Are you weighing the impact? We're talking about the weight and the impact of your words. Are you really doing it? And when you're thinking about the words you are using, whose needs are you focused on? Ephesians 4:29 says, watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps each word. What helps? Each word a gift. I mean, we can easily say foul or dirty. I don't speak foul words. I don't speak dirty words. I don't curse. But what about the word you're speaking? I come from a place where we talk about how saying sorry, saying how are you has a negative or a positive connotation. It depends on the tone. It depends on the situation. Are we thinking of our children as people that need the respect, that we need to consider how we speak to them? Or do we just think, it's my child, I can say it anyhow? What is the proportion of your negative versus positive words to your children? I mean, there's a different beliefs about this, but the one I want to focus on today is the fact that 5 to 9 positive words should be the proportion of 1 negative. 5 to 9. For every negative word you speak, you should consider 5 to 9. But the question is, why are we even considering negative words? And negative words are not just about something terrible. It's about the impact of that word on your child. Because as a parent, your child is looking up to you, depending on you to validate them. So when your words don't validate your child, what are you saying? When you're sarcastic, like, look at how she's looking at me. Are you blind? Can you not see? I'm talking to you, you're looking away. Are you serious right now? Tone. Words. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't train your children. I'm not saying don't correct your children. That's not what this is all about. It's about the tone. It's about the intent of the words. It's about when you listen to those words yourself, what do they bring out in you? Do they make you happy? Do they make you sad? It's about realizing there is a time for every word you speak, and there is a way you can say it. Because the reality is, kids don't understand sarcasm. All a child hears is somebody is insulting me. All a child hears is my mother doesn't believe in me. All a child hears is my father is angry with me. The weight of your words. When somebody outside says the same thing to your child, it's not the same thing as when you say it. Because that child is looking to you for validation. So when you say it, it hurts a lot more. And that's what the weight is all about. What are they hearing from you? Sometimes I do this, I've done this. I go there, I need to say the truth. I need to say what I have to say. But are you considering what they need to hear? Especially in that time. Many times our kids are already down on themselves, but then we angrily try to correct them. You're angry, the child is angry. What are you going to say that is going to make any sense or that is going to be of blessing? So remember that that's what we're thinking about. Say only what helps. Each word a gift. So when we speak to our children, are we gifting them with our words or are we hurting them with our words? Do we speak with our children? Do we talk to our children or do we talk at our children? Why does any of this matter? Think about the words that were spoken to you growing up, over you as a Christian, especially, or even over you as somebody who was younger, being spoken to an adult. Think of the words that were spoken at you and think about the words that were spoken about you. Think of the impact each one of them made. Think of the difference each one of them is. I love people talking to me. And even over us can also be, your child is talking, you're talking over them. It can also mean the words that is being spoken over you, maybe as a Christian, the weight of those words, the way you think of those words, you remember them for so long afterwards. Or when somebody's talking at you. Think about that. I think sometimes when we put ourselves in the shoes of the person we're talking to, it makes a difference. But many times we all take this sense of, it's my child. Your child has feelings. Your child is a human being. My child has feelings. My child is a human being. Are we balancing this? Are we realizing that, yes, your child should respect you? Are we respecting them? I know that's not a word that many of us want to hear, but respect is not just from one side. It's got to be both ways, whether we like it or not. That is the reality of life. Let's move on. So the source determines, give me 1 minute, please. I need to move this thing out of here. Yep, that's better. The source determines the weight and the impact on the hearer. Let's take a moment and think about this. The source determines the weight and the impact on the hearer. What does that mean? Who's the source? You are the source. I am the source. When we think of us being the source of the words, and we think of the fact that that determines the weight and the impact on the hearer. Remember, the impact is a force. The weight is heaviness. So when you think of the force and the weight, the heaviness of your words on your child, are you protecting them or are you destroying them with your words? Are you being their advocate or their accuser? Are you showing them love with your words or hatred? Every conversation we have with our children is like a construction site. On the same construction site, some are building, some are breaking down. What are we doing at our sites when we speak to our children? Are we always building or do we constantly destroy? When you think of the work of the fact that impact is a force, what kind of force are you showing? Are you giving with your words to your child? Who are you being when you speak to or about your child? Who? A parent? A friend? A mother? A father? A builder? Or a destroyer? What do you represent when you speak? Are you protecting? Are you the hero? When your child is hurt outside, they want to run to because they know you will make it better. Or are you the type that's going to go, yeah, well, what did you do? It took my daughter calling my attention to this. I didn't realize it. Every time she comes to me to talk to me about something going on with her friend group, I try to see the lesson in it and tell her about the lesson. One day she said to me, I don't want you to teach me, Mom. I just want you to listen to me. I just want to share my heart with you. I never realized I was doing that. And I'm not going to say to you, I stopped doing it immediately. I'm still working on it. But I didn't pay attention that it didn't occur to me that that was what I was doing. I was so intent on training her, on teaching her, on helping her to be a better person that I wasn't hearing the hurts. I wasn't hearing the cry for help. I wasn't hearing that, oh, she was just sharing. I could have listened, talked with her, and then later say the same thing I said. In that one, it was always the timing. It wasn't so much what I said. It wasn't so much about me teaching her. It was the timing. It just wasn't right. I mean, thank God now she calls me when things are not going okay. But she told me she was in middle school. And she told me, Mom, don't always turn everything into a teaching moment. I just want you to listen to me. So in that, I wasn't a hero. I was an antagonist. So what do we represent in our utterance? Who are we representing? Christ or the accuser? Matthew 5:13 and 14 talks about how we are the salt of the world, of the earth. We are the light. We need to remember that we need to be that to our children as well. It's not just to people outside. Excuse me. It's not just when we're thinking about, oh, I'm a Christian, I need to be the salt of the world, the earth, I need to be the light to the world. What about our children? Are we being the salt of the earth? Are we being the light in their world? These are the things we need to ponder about. This is about thinking about our words. Rash language cuts and maims, but there is healing in the words of the wise. We are the wise in the lives of our children. We are way older than them. So when they look at us, they see wisdom. Are they hearing wisdom? Or are we just treating them as, it doesn't matter. Remember the poll we took earlier? I am supposed to be training my children. I don't have to worry about how they're taking it. I don't have to worry about whether they're happy about it or not. But I'm here to say to us today, we need to worry. As Christians, they are God's gift to us. We are caretakers. We will give account to God for those kids. What kind of an account are you going to give? What account am I going to give? Who are you being when you speak to or about your child? What do you represent in your utterance to your child? Who are you representing when you speak to your child or about your child? You are their hero. You are their advocate. When we speak to them, when we speak with them, are we advocating for them or are we accusing them? Are we loving them or are we unwittingly hating them? See, I said unwittingly because none of us as parents, if everything is okay, will desire to curse our kids or hate them. But today I'm challenging us and saying, think about the words. Think about the impact and the weight of the words you say to your child every time. Because your words matter. Because you are the source. And you as the source matters. Because the words you speak matter. Okay? Our intention means nothing. Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to. I didn't intend to do that. I mean, I'm just trying to help you. But does that take away the hurts? It doesn't. It doesn't. So we need to think about that. And the words we do not speak are as important as the ones we speak. I am going to take a break. Let me see. Oof. Let's see. I'm going to stop sharing briefly. I want us to just briefly talk about the importance of the words we speak and the ones we don't speak. And please, even before I say anything, I see Mrs. Oladunjoye. My bad. You have a question?
Oh, sorry, it was an error, sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So can we go to my to that last point then, please? The words we speak and the words we don't speak. Anybody want to chip in on that? Why are those important? Why should we consider those? Or about anything I've been saying since? Oh yeah, people, let's talk.
Okay, let me go. Good morning. So
Good morning, thank
I
you.
like the way you put it that because I mean you just nailed it. The way you said that the words we speak to our children are so impactful from what others will speak to them. Because I mean, let's say for the children's school teacher, whatever they speak to them, yeah. But what we speak to them, that is what they hold on to. So we have to be extra careful in designing and reframing the way we speak to them, because it's so unfortunate that our children of today, in this era of mental health, It's what mommy has said that is give them trauma. What daddy has said, what anybody has said is nothing. It's mommy, but especially for those of us that have daughters, mother and daughters, is what mommy says. So we just have to just take a deep breath. Even if they do anything that it's so annoying, let's take a deep breath and let's start with a positive vibe. So when we start with positivity, then we can go to where we're nailing it. But as human beings, including myself, we start with the negative thing, and the child would have switched off completely. It's just, the child is just standing in front of us, but all we're saying is just garbage. And God will help you. Honestly, you did nail it. This is beautiful. This is great. Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. That is just it. I mean, it's like I tend to see, somebody still called my attention to this last week. No, this week actually. They said to me, you tend to see the thing that is wrong and mention them more than you see the right things that we are doing. And both my kids said that when they were growing up. Mom, why do you only comment on the negative things? What about the things that we did or that we are doing well? You only talk about it when we've done something that it's not right. We don't pay attention. Honestly, for me, and I see people around me, it's that attention to detail. We tend not to pay attention. Sometimes we tend not to pay attention because they are our children. We don't have to pay attention. But we need to, because we are their mirror. We are the ones that see right in front of them. And like my sister said, we gave them life. They look to us for validation more than they look to others outside. So imagine this child is looking for validation. Everything outside is going off awfully. Everything is terrible. Everything that is terrible is going on outside. And then they come home. And it's something else. I was going to share this on another slide, but I'm sensing that this is a good time. So I went on Facebook today. Yeah, and I was reading through. I belong to this group on Facebook of parents, teachers, and school owners. And I read a story. I think that story has been going around for a while, but I want to believe it's a true story. I read the story of this young girl. She was the assistant head girl. And they all got to school one day. And the owner of the school called the teachers in for an emergency meeting. And she said, I am here to unfortunately confirm the story you have heard today. She mentioned the child's name, our assistant head girl, a girl that I had a meeting with yesterday, committed suicide overnight. What happened? This beautiful girl, when she left a letter for the family to read, for the mother to read. The father passed away 5 years before. Her mother did everything she could to make sure financially and in every other way, they didn't feel the impact of that loss. And of course, the child did everything she could to be a good student. When she became the assistant head girl, one of her teachers called her mom and said, you know, your daughter could have been the head girl, but for the fact that she doesn't smile very much. She's always frowning, she never smiles. Now, remember that this child lost her father 5 years prior. We were expecting her. This teacher was expecting her to be full of smiles. So she said that to the mother. And guess what? The story said the mother did every day? Compared her to the head girl every blessed day. Remember that? The person that came first, do they have two heads? We heard that a lot. Why are you like this? Look at that person. Sarcasm, thank you. We use it with our kids. This mother who loved her daughter with everything in her was not mindful of her words. And then one night, that girl decided that was it, I'm done. So all of this is just to say we need to be mindful. We need to be more careful when we think of the fact that our words that we speak to our children have a force. As the source of those words, they validate them. They tell them you are good, or they tell them you are not enough. Now, if we remember how we feel when we are met outside with this kind of experience, we are adults, right? We are better mentally able to handle these things than our children. So what are we doing? How are we doing it? These are things that we need to be really careful about. Let's go back to our okay. So yeah. And then we come to the part of apologizing. We apologize with a but or if. You made me do it. If I said something that offended you, I am sorry. I am sorry, but they're all excuses. I do a lot of that if one. If I offended you, I'm so sorry. If my words came out the wrong way, I'm so sorry. You know, mommy, my fire granddaughter, she calls me out every time. She go, if they that face, just looking at that face already, you know that you've done something wrong. She go, if mom, if you did something wrong, if you said something wrong, we all do it. And today is just be mindful. We need to be more careful. We're talking about mental health. And the reality is, we are not helping those mental health ourselves with the words we speak. Because we forget that we are the source. We as a source is very important. And the words we speak are as important as the person that is speaking it. Our humility or apology, when given the right way, validates our child's feelings. But when we make excuses, when we go the if and but way, we're validating our own feelings. So when hurt is being given, whose feelings matter most? Ours or theirs? Are we building or are we destroying? This is another part that I really, really want us to spend a few minutes on. Forgiveness is to be offered, not demanded or expected. I said I was sorry. Why is she still upset? You have to forgive me. I already apologized. We all know how we demand forgiveness with our words, with our actions, thinking that because we said we were sorry, excuse me, because we already said sorry, that should make it right. But sorry doesn't heal the wound. Sorry doesn't take away the hurt. Just as your intentions don't matter, The fact that you didn't mean to give the hurt doesn't matter. What matters is that you gave that hurt. And once you've given that hurt and you realize, who are you to demand forgiveness? Who are we to start quoting the scripture and expecting that they have to forgive us immediately and the way we want to be forgiven? Put yourself in their shoes. When somebody offends you, do you allow them to demand forgiveness from you? So why should we not treat our children the way we want to be treated? The weight and impact of our words. Forgiveness is to be offered by them, by whoever we have offended. It's not to be demanded. It's not to be expected. You ask and then you wait. Even if it is a 2-year-old, you ask and then you wait. 2-year-olds are very quick to forgive. They very quickly forgive us. But once they get to adolescence, they don't forgive easily. And so today I'm challenging you, stop demanding that forgiveness. Stop expecting it as your right. You hurt that person. You hurt that child. So think about the fact that if holding on to that forgiveness is the only way they have their power back, pray for them to forgive you. Don't demand it. Don't then start reminding them about what you have taught them as a Christian. What about what you learned as a Christian to give this hurt? It's time we start seeing our children, not as an extension of us, but as people in their own rights, with their own feelings, their own expectations, their own needs, and their own wants. There's this saying, I'm here to give you what you need, not what you want. But we are here to give them both. Sometimes it's what they need, sometimes it's what they want. So let's think about our words and how we use them. We're here to value our children. Think about how we value people that we believe are important. So today I'm challenging you, I'm challenging myself and reminding us, our kids are important. Their feelings, their emotions are more important than what we buy them. They can do without what we give them, but they can't do without their mental and emotional well-being. And it's high time we start thinking about that and remember that they deserve our respect. In little ways, in big ways. That little child deserves respect in the way we speak to her or him. We've got to learn to stop. Like my sister said, pause, think, weigh your words. Remember what source you are to the person that you're about to speak to before you send that horse moving. Because when that words come out, it's going to make an impact. What impact are your words going to make? What impact are your words making? Very important. And we also need to understand the power of the period of full stop. I am sorry, full stop. No but, no if. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Please forgive me, full stop. We all need to learn it. We all need to think about it if you are not using it yet. Even if you are, we all need to be more aware. We all need to, when we're relating with our kids, need to start asking for the help of the Holy Spirit to much more. Mouth control is the ultimate self-control. A person without self-control is like a house with its doors and windows knocked out. Can you imagine a house without doors or windows? I live in Massachusetts. So I read it, I'm thinking, imagine in winter, no door, no window. You're frozen stiff in that house. You're dead. So mouth control is the ultimate self-control. We've got to control our mouth. We've got to think of the proportion of the words we are using. I mean, to say we will not ever use negative words or find fault, I don't think that's realistic. But like my sister said, find the positive. Even if the negative is all about correction, find the positive first. Lead with your best foot forward. Lead with the positive. Even if you're so angry, this is my prayer, that when we get so angry, we can't even see the positive. We learn to control our mouth, control our tongue. Walk away. See the child. See into the child, not the defiant look or the defiant person you're seeing. Because sometimes defiance is just about trying to appear brave and uncaring, because they do care. You are the parent, especially we mothers. They came into this world to love us. And it's never too late. If things have changed, then we need to start looking for how to change it back. How to start seeing our children, how to start valuing them and showing them respect. And remind ourselves that the words we speak are very important. They matter. They really, really do. So now I'm going to stop sharing. Before we reflect, I want to see if there's any addition, any contribution, any question. Because the next slide is of course us reflecting on what I've been talking about. And I have some questions to ask us. So any contribution, any question?
Okay, I have a
Any
question.
disagreement?
No, we don't have disagreements. We've been blessed so far. So I have a question. So if you have a child that is strong-willed, and everything that you have said, we have tried to do that. We have started with positive tone. We have tried to embrace the child. We have tried our own manner, but this child is just so stubborn. For one reason or the other, the child is just not yielding to want to relate with us, which is a tough situation. And at times, I know that as mothers, maybe if somebody put it on the chat, maybe it's from how we were raised, which is not just an excuse. Then at times, because of our insecurities that we saw when we were being raised, maybe it has become part of us. So can you speak to what we can do to help that child? Because to be honest with you, from that sad story you said, there's some things that these children, they don't say it out. They bottle it up in their mind. And God forbid, if they go somewhere else and they don't have the covering of God, or they don't have somebody speaking to them, right? They can go off, but that will not be the portion of our children in Jesus' name. But please, can you speak to what we can do to help that child to get to the place of soberness, the place of where the child will know that parents are not perfect. We're just human beings as well. Thank you.
One of the things that immediately came to mind is, how often do we let our children know that we are not perfect? Do we say it? Do we show it? Or do we maintain that facade of everything is okay? We do that a lot. We are trying to protect them. And in doing that, we're saying to them, we've got it. How many times you and I know that we don't have it? We throw ourselves on the mercy of God. That's the one thing. The other thing is, as you were talking, that came to me was, have you really spoken with him to find out? That's a question. What is really going on? Why? Are you talking to him, or are you talking at him when he gets into that place? Because you also need to remember that sometimes our kids would rather, and I'm not saying you're not giving him attention, but sometimes some kids need a lot more, and they'll rather look for that negative than the positive. And sometimes we're not even aware. As I was talking, and something came to my mind. So my daughter graduated this May, and we went for our graduation, and we were sitting down and talking, and they were asking questions because there were two families together, and they were talking about when they were growing up and what they did. See, I'm an educator. I've always thought that I have follow through. That when I say something, oh, God help you. My daughter smiled. In fact, she laughed. She said, oh, my mom doesn't have follow through. I was like, huh? She's like, yeah, you don't. When you say to me, take something away from me and say, you're keeping it for the next 1 week. All I have to do is to just change my ways. Within 3 days, I get it back. And after I tried that several times, I knew how to press your buttons. I knew what buttons to press. She's 21 going on 22. So imagine how long she's been pressing those buttons. And I thought I was doing it right. I got it. So there's no one way. There's no one answer. Honestly, sometimes we also, without thinking about it, compare. And another thing is, we try to train all our children the same way. Do the same thing with them the same way. It doesn't work. So what I would say is, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back to the Holy Spirit. God, what is going on with this particular child? Is it me? It's not even a matter of is it me. What am I doing wrong? What am I not doing? What am I not seeing? What do you want me to change? How do you want me to change it? Because it just might be pressing your button. And for whatever reason, he's more comfortable with that negative than positive. So how do we reach out to him? Because we need to. And you know the funny thing again? Even when they are doing things, they are watching the right thing. And they are doing those right things when you are not there. I remember once when my kids went out to play with another family who have kids like them. And I went to pick them up, and I was like, I was saying to the sister, I hope they behaved. I hope the brother looked after the sister, and she was like, Sister Foluke, don't worry. I've had them several times. I know that when you are not there, he looks out for his sister. To her, she was just making a statement. To me, it gave me peace of mind, knowing that when I am not there, they will look out for each other. They're visiting each other this weekend. And that came back to me. And I was thinking, I don't remember them. It's not that they don't fight or quarrel, but I don't remember them falling out in a big way. It wasn't something I did. It was just God. And it was, now that I think of it, realizing that early that I don't have to stress over that. I don't have to keep reminding him and hammering it down his head or on his head. Look out after your sister. Take care of your sister. Because of what my friend said, I could easily look after each other when they're going away and be, comfortable and know that they were going to do it without me stressing it. So honestly, sis, Holy Spirit, go back to the drawing board and ask him, which brings me to our next slide. Let's go to it. It's time to share and reflect. Okay. This is one thing we don't often do that we need to do a lot of. So I want to challenge us to reflect on what we've heard today. Based on what you've heard today, based on what the Holy Spirit has reminded you of, who did the weight of your words crush recently? Who is grateful to God that you are here today listening to this? I didn't say who do you need to go and talk to about what you have heard today because you know what they are doing that they're doing wrong. I'm talking about you and I. We're talking about our children, but this is applicable to every conversation we have. Who did your words crush recently? Who is grateful to God that you are here listening to this today? Hurt people hurt people. What hurt do you need to give to God for healing so you can stop hurting with your words? Who are you angry with that is making you hurt somebody else? I don't know about you, about times when I've been angry with my husband and it reflected in the way I related with my kids. When I've been angry with somebody else and it impacted my relationship with someone else. Who hurt you? What hurt are you nursing that you need to hand over to God for healing? Because only the healed, only somebody who is well can give grace. If you are hurt, there's no grace anyway. Who should you be apologizing to instead of demanding forgiveness from? It doesn't matter who, your child, your spouse, your best friend, your sibling that is trying your patience, whoever, your co-worker, your boss, whoever. No, we said about us as Christians, we are the salt of the earth. We are the light that is supposed to be placed on the top of the mountain. Our words cannot afford to be rash. We have to think about using words that will build others up and meet their needs. So if we are not doing that, we're not living right as Christians. So who should we be apologizing to instead of demanding forgiveness from? And remember, they don't have to forgive us. We just have to hope and pray that they do. We cannot keep demanding forgiveness. It's a gift. And if I choose not to give it that very moment, you can't make me. You shouldn't make me. So we should stop making our kids forgive us. And it's all about reflecting on these things. It's all about being aware that these things exist. All right, so as a coach, it won't be right for me to finish this talk without actually giving us a skill that I learned as I was doing my training. So please do this with me. Let me read this first. Reflection is something many of us are always too busy to practice. We don't reflect. We don't think about things. We are always reacting. We need to make time to reflect. Because how can we learn or make changes if we don't take time to reflect on where we are, what we can change, where we want to go to or get to, or even be grateful for what we are able to do? Reflection, reflection, reflection. We have got to make time to reflect about our lives. Think about it. It's like we're afraid to think about how life is going. So we keep doing things the same way. And this skill is applicable in every area of our lives. It's up to you, beginning of the day, end of the day. The first thing you do is think about what you want to try. So today I'm going to pause for a minute. After explaining each one, I'm going to set the timer so that we do that. What is try? What did you just learn today that you are committing to trying in your words, in the way you speak to your children, in the way you use your words, in thinking about the impact and weight of your words before you say them? So what new thing are you going to try? And our meaning starts. Think about it, please. Just one thing. Okay. The next thing is, what did you just realize today is a hindrance? Something you have been doing wrong that you want to shred, you want to let go of, you want to stop doing. I'm going to change yours to what that 1 minute was long. So I'm going to make it, what, 30 seconds? No, I'm going to make it 20 seconds. Because this is not something that we have to just finish doing today and never do again. we can continue doing it. So the first thing was, what did you learn that you want to try? The second thing is, what do you want to shred? What is that thing that you just been convicted of that you want to get rid of? Finally, what have you been doing well that you're committing to supercharging, that you're committing to doing a lot more of? What did you just learn that you're going to keep trying, that you want to start trying? What have you just realized you need to get rid of? What have you realized is great that you want to do better at? We can use this in every area of our lives. When something occurs to you, ask yourself, okay, what do I want to get out of this I'm going to start doing? What if I just realize it's wrong? I'm going to actively get rid of, stop doing. What did I realize is working that I want to get better at, that I want to supercharge? And the more we reflect, the more we practice, the better we'll get at it. Okay? Question and answer. But before I go off, I'm just going to put the resources up here for a few seconds. Actually, wondering if I can later copy it and post and paste it in chat. But I'm going to stop sharing now so we can do question and answer. Escape, escape, escape. Okay. Questions, please. Contributions. Nothing? Did I put everybody to sleep? Or should I start calling names? Remember, I'm a teacher.
Okay,
All right, let
just
me see.
good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so I followed closely on the teachings, very informative. I must commend that, and I appreciate every effort. But what my concern is, I'm also a teacher and running a tutorial sections. We meet students every day, and one of the major challenges is the fact that they open up because of the kind of program I run. They get to class and they open up. And I begin to reflect, why is it they open up to certain time teachers? Because basically, because of the kind of program I run with teenagers and youth, so they can easily express themselves when they are faced with challenges. But I get concerned when they can't truly open up to their parents, just like we are all experiencing. But somehow I try to give them, like a case I had, and the girl was actually pregnant at 17 years, and she lives with her mother and father without their knowledge. And that pregnancy was over how many months, and they're not aware. We just noticed it, and we're like asking, what is the matter, before we say she doesn't know what to tell her parents, her mother. I stirred her up, and basically it was not a funny experience, but she refused. But it got me concerned. What can you do to such a situation? Because obviously she refused to even go back. I didn't relate with the parents because I work with teenagers. So basically, most of them come in by themselves, even to register for the programs, to prepare for them, prepare for WAEC, something that you never met with their parents. So what could one do in that kind of situation where they refuse to go back? Because trying to reconcile them back in one way or the other, but truly they refuse. That particular girl refused to talk to her mom. So just like you explained, I just said, okay, let me onboarding this. What could have been a better way to present that issue back to the family?
That's a big one. So listening and thinking about it, we don't know what's been going on in that family. Number one, we need to think about what we can be grateful to God for. That even as Gochi took in, she was carrying the baby, she wasn't trying to abort. There's something to thank God about that, for that. The fact that you are a resource for her, you and your teachers were there for her to open up to. That is an advantage for her. Honestly, other than just going to the parents and talking to them, I have nothing else. Because when you go there is when you will understand what the child is refusing, why the child is refusing to go and talk to them. That's the only thing I can think of. And we also need to remember that sometimes we can't make things better. We can only be there to support who we can support. It is not even our place to try and affect the outcome in a certain way. So here is the thing I see. This is the child in front of you. What can you do to support that child? And it's even not a case of whether she did it right or not. There is a need here. How do we support and meet this need? How do we help her? Mentally, physically, in every way? How do we help her through the pregnancy? Yes, how do we see if we can involve the parents, the family? So without having any attachment, maybe you will go to the parents and say, this is what I've noticed. How can we work together and support this child? And whatever they say is whatever they say. You can't make anything happen, but you can be there for the child. And that's one thing we are all realizing, that our kids open up more to people outside if we don't support them the way they need to be supported, right? So they will open up, they will find something else, somebody else outside. And that's where the problem always starts most of the time. So then it becomes, what do we do? So that's all I can give. Anybody else in the audience have any other suggestion? Well, we can't make anything happen. We can see the person in front of us and we can reach out and support that person. Is there a way we can support them with their family? Yes. Otherwise?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ma, for the way you answered it. So I have a kind of similar situation to that. The child who got pregnant, a young girl, and the parents did not like it or whatever. But I think for me, the way I have come to realize things, that God always brings this kind of thing to us because God wants us to kind of be there for that child. Because normally as a parent, I mean, we want that kind of news. But since it's life, we just have to encourage it through. So what she did, I mean, I think she should just invest more of your time in that parent, that young parent. And that's what I did for this young girl. I met with her recently. We went outside, we had dinner together. And I just tried to talk to her, but I could see that from where she was coming from, it's parenting issues. But I didn't go there to chastise her parents. It's none of my business. But I went there in a place that, go back to God. Let's take it from there. What can you do with your life going forward? Having a child does not mean that that is the end of life. If the father of the child is in your life, praise God. If the father of the child is not in your life, praise God. but you as an individual, you still have a lot ahead of you. So I went from that angle to discuss with her, and I gave her assignments. Tell me what you want to do with your life. I said I was going to meet with her in another 4 weeks. Go think through it, but you have to go back to school. I said to her that going back to school, I'm not saying that without you going back to school, you can't make it. I'm just saying that so that you can just tick that box, because I don't want you to be in the future where you'd be like, oh, I didn't have an education. That's the reason why I'm not doing well. So I said, go back to community college. Let's know, go to school, go research. Let's know what the cost is. So there are things that we can do. And I believe one thing, as we sow into other children, God will raise helpers for our own children as well. So we just have to go out of the box and just support that child. And parents, then we just pray for the parents. We can't go and tell the parents that their parenting is wrong. We just pray for them in our closet, and God will be glorified in Jesus' name.
Man, thank you so much. Sis, did that help? The sister that asked a question, was that of any good?
Yes. That's nice one.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being there for them. Thank you for being there for these kids. Thank you for being used. I mean, thank you.
There also, can I say something? And also, there are times that there are things that we
The
don't see
more
in our
reason I didn't want to
children.
take things was because even the sister told me that because it's summer.
Please continue, Statola.
Okay. So that, there are times that there are things that we don't see in our own children that other people see, right? But I tell people that if you don't have a relationship with somebody, you cannot correct. So I tell people they start having that relationship with that parent, or so that you can be able to talk to them about their child. There's a testimony in my church that always blows my mind anytime I speak this testimony. This child had autism. The parent did not see, the mom did not see it. But thank God for the special education teachers that God places in churches for us. This one of this special education teacher came to me and said to me that, Pastor, this child has autism, and they have tried to talk to the mom somehow, but she doesn't see it. She now said to me that, can I just stay, since the mom is always involved in one activity or the other after church, can I just stay 1 hour and begin to train that child? So I said that was perfect. To God be the glory. A year after, this child speaks. This child does everything, but the mom doesn't know anything in the background though. So there are times that God will make us to be invisible there, just to support and do what we need to do. And then for us mothers as well, if anybody comes to us and tells us about our child, let's just be in the place to receive. Don't let us get angry, get upset. Let's receive so that the child's life can be better in the future. Amen.
Thank you so much. So I saw Mrs. Sodetokun put a comment in chat. Anybody wants to share with us what they are trying, what they are committed to trying, what they are committed to shredding, and what they're committed to supercharging? That would be great.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Thank you for the presentation. There's so many things that you have said, which confirms the kind of experience that I've had with my children. One of the things you said not to treat our children the same way. Sometimes we learn the hard way because you think, oh, well, this one was like this one was like, why can't you be like your sister? Why can't you be like your brother? But then when you continually come against the child, pushing back with that kind of narrative, I think with reflection, I have learned, I have 3 kids, they're all different. And when I tried to the way that I treated one to treat the other one, no, it did not work. So with experience over the years, I learned how to deal with each one of them in order to have peace. Because without that, there was no way I was going to have peace. And it took one of my children to actually tell me that, look, mommy, this is not going to work with this person. You need to say things because, sometimes the way we are brought up, we want to treat our children the same way. So I am like, I don't have to say this. You should know. My daughter said, no, He should not know. He's not a mind reader. You have to say what you want. You have to speak out. If you don't say it, he's not going to know. And then you are going to go on the offensive saying, yeah, you should have known. No, you cannot hold him responsible for what he does not know. And he himself told me, be specific, Mom. If this is what you want, say it. Don't assume I know. So, we learn. One big thing that you also said was talking about the reflection. We have to constantly reflect on what we're doing, our experiences with our children, our experiences with our relationships generally. With reflection, it helps us to know, how can I do better? How can I change? What is it that I need to change that would make my life easier? A lot of times, it's just us wanting to be in control, which we need to stop. Trying to be in control of everything or trying to shape the narrative. No, nobody has control of anything. We have to let go and let God just direct us. So thank you so much. It's been a very informative one. Thank you.
Thank you, Sayetunde. That is so, so, so true. We want to control everything, and it's an illusion. We are not in control of anything. And the minute our kids hit puberty, they let us know that you were playing, you were joking, thinking you were controlling anything. You weren't in control of anything. And yeah, that is so, so true. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Anyone else, please? Okay. Mrs. Adetokun, can I hand it back to you? Thank you, everybody.
Wow. This is one awesome session. Can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear, ma. Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
So I feel like I've done, like, what they call a master class, right? I feel like I've just had a 1-hour master class. Can everybody please say thank you to Mrs. Foluke Ajayi on my behalf? She started out, like typically, like the way coaches do with you. And I was wondering, where's she going with this, and like they said, like people say, there were those mic drop moments. I'm going to capture some of those from the chat. And, for those of you on our email list, I'll capture some of those and send to you. I'm also going to ask if she can share her slide with us. I know that, she's a coach. This is what she does for a living. So it's not free, but we will ask for her indulgence to share, because personally, I think we need to go back, every one of us, myself included, and reflect on some of those things. I'm sure for different people, there were different aha moments. I had a few of those aha moments, even though I walked alongside her to prepare for this session. We both did our preparation and compared notes and all of that, but the delivery was something else. And I want to encourage us as parents, please let's not get to a place where we think we are all done, we are set, we know it all. We never get to that place. As long as we're on this earth, there's always a way to improve. There's always another opportunity to improve. And you may have had it with one child, had it easy with one child, the other child may not be that easy, like she said. So let's learn to continue to understand our children, even as they get into adulthood and form families of their own. That's another season, and you may need another set of skills or another wisdom nuggets for that area. So let's just trust God and continue to learn, so that we can be better parents. Again, thank you so much, Mrs. Ajayi. I'm really, really, really very grateful.